Okay, you're not moving the PowerPoint. What's going on here? There we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Mastery of Loving, the Journey of Conscious Relationships. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Claudine Tremonte, and I no longer fix people. And this is going to be class number 5. People wonder why I chose a 6-month course. And I want to just say this. We are always learning in relationship and in connection to others. And that's what it was about. It was a long arch. People have been coming back. They've been staying in touch through, weekly emails, through a Facebook group. And so this is a way of deepening our understanding of ourselves through connection with others. And this is a very interactive course. So for those who are joining us for the first time for class 5, Embodying Secure Love, know that there's going to be a few little things that we're going to be doing. This is not me talking. This is us practicing what is embodied secure love. So I welcome you all here tonight. And this was my vision as part of a breathwork journey and my lifelong journey of understanding the conversation of loving. I am a psychotherapist for 33 years. I'm a relationship coach. I'm a breath worker. But I'm a human, and we thrive in connection. We are wired for connection and also wired for protection. And that's really what we've been exploring together. So I'm glad that you're here this evening, and let the journey begin. These are ground rules, not in a rigid way, but this is what I want to share with people. Coming off camera is about making this more valuable to you. We don't learn in passivity. I'll just clean my dishes. And I understand it. I've been on your side too as a participant. This is an interactive experience. So if you want to get something from it tonight, I'm going to really encourage people to be present, come off camera, go into the activities. We're going to do a group activity at one point. So let's honor boundaries. We're not here to fix or advise anybody. Just stay in curiosity, right? But my last invitation is always what you put in is what you get out. So I know we have people here, and I appreciate everyone being muted. I want to invite Karen and Najeen and others to come off camera, if you so are willing, because that's where the juice is.
Come on.
For classes. I'm sorry?
Come on camera, not off camera.
Oh, thank you. I apologize. Thank you, Hal. Recap for where we've been in this journey. Class 1 was really about understanding attachment styles, but we started with breadth of conception, right? And what our relationship is to our caregivers, because it starts to set a pattern. It doesn't lock a pattern, but we start to create a reciprocalness in relationships based on our primary caregivers in our infancy. We then went into class 2, where we looked at our inner child and our adolescent. Really, where's the wonder? What is the places inside of us? They're starting to imprint. How do we receive love? What do I have to do? Who do I have to be? Right? We start to feel some conditionality. And so we also did some inner child work. Class 3 was when we really got into our first heartbreak. Where is that? We've experienced our first love, now our first heartbreak. And we talked about how the body keeps score, how we store our emotionality somatically, right? Our nervous system is giving us different information sometimes than our brain. That's what we did in class 3. Class 4 was really talking about our patterns. We've spent four big classes talking about our patterns. How do we interact? We use words like, people pleasing, or I have to appease, I have to accommodate to receive love. I have to stay small, not use my voice. So we start to look at where's it show up and what is a way we can interrupt pattern. That was our class 4. Class 5 is about, embodying secure love. So we're going to be talking about it from inside, safety and love from inside of us, not the mental construct. We're going to talk about it, but we don't feel here. We feel in the whole system. So we'll talk about that. What is secure versus insecure behaviors? We'll talk a little bit more about co-regulation, even though we've been talking about regulation in all of these courses, and really building trust through vulnerability and presence. Okay. So let's start the class. I want to invite you, anybody tonight. It's great to see some of these people here. You're not on camera. Jennifer, Inda, Anishieta, I really want to encourage more people to come off camera and join us here this evening. Right. So what is secure
I'm
love?
working on it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jen. So secure love, is about consistency, responsiveness, emotional availability. I'll use words like attunement, right? Accountability. You probably have some of your own definitions and qualities of what goes into secure love. It is your definition. It's not an expert's definition. What does love mean to you? How do you know when someone is actually there for you? Right? So I'm going to read a few quotes from people whom I admire in our field, right? But some of the core pieces I will also say is, responsive. How do we reach out to each other? If I'm having an emotional experience, are you available to hold space for me? Can you reciprocate? Can you repair if we're in conflict? This is what secure love is about, right? And there's also a lot in social media about security and safety in particular in relationships. I want a safe relationship. I want to feel safe with you. Tonight, we're also going to talk about, how do I feel safe with me? Yes, I want safety in my relationship, but it needs to originate here. And I will share in my own journey, I've often farmed out my safety to others. And then they're like, you're not safe. Because in the end, I wasn't safe here. And so we will do some embodiment practices around that tonight. I have shared in these classes that I have a tendency to be more of the avoidant attachment. I am not at this point. I've shared before, we all have secure attachment. We default under trauma in response to, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized, which is a combination of two, right? People often will say, like, I feel trapped. It doesn't feel like it feels like it could be stagnant. There's not a lot of freedom. I can't explore. I can't expand. That's not what love is, because love allows the freedom and the curiosity to coexist. It is not about, now I made a commitment. We're done exploring. I know you, you know me. No, I hope for you never in your relationships. I often say to my partner, may you not know me to our last breath, that there is something you have not learned. There's a part of you that is still curious to understand me. And I know I have some of my own predictabilities. I get that. But I want to read a quote from Esther Perel. She says, right, security and aliveness can coexist. Love rests on trust, but desire needs space. So we recognize security and trust really are needed as the fertilizer. But anything can't grow in a container too small. I think about it. We plot our gardens out because we know our plants want to take root and expand. It's no different in relationships. I would never want to put my partner in a small container. I want to give them huge containers so they can continue to flourish. Susan Johnson, who's no longer with us, who wrote the great book, Hold Me Tight, speaks about how attachment is a safe haven in the launch pad, right? It's not that you're going to rescue me, but I'm going to go for comfort. I'm going to go for strength, for some reassurance, so that I can touch base and then go. It's like getting fueled up. You're not responsible for my fuel, but I'm willing to be your witness so I can empower you to keep going. Just think about, for you, what is secure love? You've had it. You've probably also know what it feels like not to have secure love. That's where I want to go tonight. So what is the embodiment of these words, though? What does that really even mean? Consistency, security. I'm going to come over here. Right? Am I back over here? Yep. All right. So what we know is through emotion focused therapy and other things, there are ways that we can, allow love to, lower anxiety and build resiliency. We know when we're regulated and we feel in connection with somebody, our system literally biologically, neurologically rests more. It settles. The dopamine, right? That we're not getting cortisol floods. We're really able to stay grounded and move from that space. So why don't you think about that tonight too, right? And we build safety through presence, not perfection. It's always about presence. I shared an Instagram recently. I have a couple I'm working with, and they're both full-time corporate people in New York City. There's not a lot of hours together. So they have found doing everyday tasks like doing the dishes, who's making the bed. They've actually found these to be connective activities. And you'll be like, I didn't assign that, but they recognize their lifestyle. And if they want to be in relationship, you've got to create the opportunities for presence. So it's not just getting the thing done, but are we there? Are we in conversation? Are we looking at each other? That's what I will say. Safety is built through presence, right? Consistency, at showing up, how we show up. So secure and insecure behaviors. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I think most of us know these things. I want to think about it a little differently, right? Secure, clear boundaries. I can express my need. Repair after rupture, which is conflict, another word for conflict in relationships. Right? We've talked about these behaviors also as trauma responses. When we shut down, blame, we cling and avoid. Another way of looking at it is, am I overfunctioning? Am I withdrawing? Am I pursuing? We hear a lot of these dynamics in relationships because, right, most of these are driven, I'm going to use this word, from insecurity, anxiety. Right? That is not secure. If I'm chasing you, if I'm feeling like I've got to have that response, or I'm going to withdraw now, right? That's what the blame and the shutdown. So there's a stance. Anybody want to share where they are in the dance? Oh my gosh, there's so many people in here. Come on. I want to keep encouraging everyone to come off camera. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. If anyone wants to share, raise your hand. For you, I apologize for the slide change. Is there something that you recognize that you do when you need to protect yourself versus when you want to move into connection? Right? Think about it. We all have our ways. And that's okay. No judgment. Be in that for a moment. I know I can move back, but I've actually learned now how to say that. So it's not a punishment. It's not a insecure behavior anymore. It's a self-care behavior. Like, wow, I really want to stay in connection with you, but I feel overwhelmed right now. I'm going to need a moment and I'm going to come back. And I come back. And if I say 5 minutes, I come back in 5 minutes. If I need an hour, right? I've said this in other classes. If you come back and you need more time, it's okay. Like, hey, what you're doing is you're staying in connection. That's a healthy coping pattern. So we're going to get into safety somatically. Show of hands on the screen. Who believes that safety can live inside themselves? Show of hands. You got some hands up? Got some? All right, Nadine, I saw that last minute. Hands up. Yeah. And it does, right? And it lives us in different ways. And we're going to practice a little of this. Oh, got some chat responses. I didn't see that. Thank you. So, yes, I will get you different recordings from the other classes. So, if it lives in us, then I could be able to access it, strengthen it, play with it. First, I want us all to get a sense of it. I've worked with clients who really don't feel it in their body. There's nothing wrong with that. It could be it hasn't been developed yet. It hasn't had a space, quietness to hear it, but in stillness, it's present. So there's a few things I want to let's try out together maybe. Right? When you feel emotionally safe, what part of your body do you notice softens? Just check in with yourself for a moment. I know my whole front softens, this area. If anyone wants to share where it is for them, please, again, raise your hand, put it in the chat. But where does safety live in your body? Right? Some people will tell me in their stomach. Think about this. If I asked you if you didn't feel safe, You may be able to tell me, yeah, Claude, my jaw is tight. Oh, my shoulders are tense. There's this. But when we're feeling safe and there's ease, our shoulders are down. Our mouths are open. Our bellies are loose. These are some indicators, not the only indicators. If anyone like to share, okay, so someone's sharing, thank you, Jalen, right through the center of her. Someone said their solar plexus. Exactly. So I appreciate the two are sharing here. Oh, someone said chest, shoulders, Jennifer. Thank you.
Susan, would you like to share? You had your hand up. You got to unmute.
Stern.
Okay. You typing it in now?
All right. That's fine. Notice if you have it, you can grow it and visit it. Right. So I really appreciate how quickly people started writing where they can feel it in their body. Because one of the things I want to encourage everyone to do, and it's going to be part of your homework, is creating a daily practice. I'll call it a daily anchor. We go out into the world every day. Let's be honest right now. There's some uncertainty. We're in the midst of some change. We can see that as danger or not. I'm not interpreting it as danger in my body. But there are times when I go out of the house that I recognize I need to be, or, I guess I've said, I'm a relationship coach and psychotherapist. And I get to be in my safety to be a witness to those that I'm in relationship with. So a daily anchor, it can be a posture. People who know me know that I do a morning, it's Louise Hay, right? Everything's always working out for me. Out of every situation, only good will come to me. I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm protected. It's a daily mantra. Do it in the shower. I'll do it when I'm making my bed. But that grounds me in that moment. If you have a practice, please share. If not, I just want to encourage you. Right? Maybe we could take a moment together and even, right, just put our hand over our heart. Take a deep breath together. I encourage you to take a shorter inhale. Count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Longer exhale. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just repeat something. I'm safe. That's simple. We've got to feel it here. That's why you see me, the tactile touch. I am safe. I'll say this. If you do not feel safe in this moment, in this class, then I want to encourage you to say, I'm learning to be safe. We don't want to lie to our body. Like, I'm safe. If you don't feel it, it's like, I'm learning to be safe. I desire to feel more safe. That's very different. Right? Just want a little caution. Right? I'm going to try another thing out. I feel like everyone's sitting. I can see you're sitting or laying. Let's do some swaying for a moment. I could stand and sway, but we can sit and sway. Right? This really just allows us to be with our body. Right? Feel the hips moving back and forth. Right? You could put your hands on your hips. Signals to your body. You put our hands on, like you are mine. I'm yours. You're one. We're connected. We're here. We are present. We're playing with our root, our hips, our solar plexus. Our thighs are sitting on chairs or beds right now. You are being held. Do you feel it? And you surrender into the chair or space you were in. That's what we want to do. Right? I would also say, right, things that I also suggest for people. And again, we're invoking a sense of safety, and that softness may even be in a cup of tea. I'm a big tea drinker. I've had 2 cups today. That's why I'm not having a third tonight. People like wrapping themselves in blankets. We have weighted blankets now, which are extraordinary. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Susie, that you're learning to feel safe. And knowing you, so glad you're alive too, Susie. So glad you're here. So glad you know you're lovable. Great. To allow ourselves to feel that comfort. If it's a weighted blanket, I've actually seen weighted stuffed animals now at like Marshalls and TJ Maxx. They're really cute, but when you feel the bottom and you lean it on your chest, it really weighs you. It's with you. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I would encourage things like that. Compresses. I actually have an old fashioned water bottle, the plastic kind, right, with a cap. Very soothing. Heating pads. So someone suggests getting in here. Um, Bilateral movement is actually really great somatically. When we walk, right, that idea that our body is moving back and forth. We give ourselves, right, the tapping. So anything that's bilateral activates our right side, left side. If you also, I can't do it on the screen. When we make right to left with our eyes, it activates something. It actually activates our curiosity and our creativity. We go back to back. Wow, Susie's sharing marching. I never even thought about that one. That's great. Really makes sense, Susie, because we're really meeting the floor with our body, our presence. It's excellent. If there's anyone else who has any practices. So I want to just continue to welcome you into the embodied sense of safety or the learning of safety. Again, if anyone has questions, please raise your hands. Ask this question a little differently right now. Where do you feel it when you're unsafe or in disconnection? And I shared before, sometimes the jaw. Like, I know for me, you put it in chat or you want to raise your hand. I know my shoulders are like rocks. I'm so hyper vigilant that everything tightens up in my shoulders and my neck. And that's an indicator, like, oh, Claude. So some people are neck, shoulders, jaws,
I was going to say
heart.
mine's my shoulder and my neck. Susan,
Yeah.
you had your hand up. Can you unmute, Susan?
Third
Unmute
eye.
yourself.
That's interesting. Someone said their third eye and chest, your heart. Jennifer, your heart. Ooh, understand that more too.
Okay. Nope, you just muted yourself
My,
again.
Hi, Susie.
Susan, you just muted yourself again.
We may have to unmute her ourselves
I
on our
can't,
side.
no, we can't do that. She has to do it
Oh,
herself. You have to unmute.
there I go.
There.
there you are. We hear you.
It says mute, which is really bizarre. Anyway, where I feel unsafe is my pelvic region and my heart.
Okay. Help me understand, because someone else wrote down heart too. Help me understand your experience in your heart.
Um, hmm. I'm not exactly sure, except that it's linked to sexual abuse with my dad.
Okay. Okay. So unsafety really contracts your heart. I mean, that's a
Right.
significant trauma too.
Lots of messages and different messages.
Okay. It makes sense. Thank you, Susie, for sharing that. And when the heart is activated on safety, right, is the marching something that you do to bring safety back?
Actually, I haven't yet. Um, all I've been able to do recently is recognize that I don't feel safe.
It's a good first step. And since it's your idea on the marching, I would really suggest that or the weighted blanket. And I also know you have a pet. Again, a wonderful way in
Yeah,
petting an animal. It's so regulating, right? In that way. Right. Thank you, Susie, for sharing.
sure.
Okay. It's Shauna?
It's pronounced Shawnee.
Shawnee.
Shani.
It
Hi,
really
Shani.
depends. It really depends on what the circumstances are. If it's something that it's very, very threatening, my throat will tighten up and I won't be able to communicate or express. And that is a trauma core issue. In that don't
Yes.
talk, don't trust, don't feel. And that when that happens, it's kind of like I know that I am not in a good place, if that makes any sense.
Oh, completely. I appreciate you even bringing this up. I will say, and I know there's men here, so please hear me, Jonathan, Hal. For women, particularly, there's been lots of messages about not sharing our voice. So, right, and especially if it's a trauma response, maybe we didn't have our voice. So, like, it's so important to open up this canal as part of our healing and our own sense of safety, because that's where we start to build trust back when we can verbalize because we are in a safe place. Of course, if you're not in a safe place, starting to verbalize can bring you more harm. But I really appreciate that you're recognizing that. I have to agree with you. I was sharing yesterday that most of my life I got strep throat, and it was always the indicator of I had something to say to somebody that I was holding back on. I haven't had strep throat in about 20 years now, but I will tell you it's a big sign. So I appreciate you talking about the contraction in throat area. Thank you, Shawnee. Jennifer.
Hello, Claudine. Hi, everyone.
Jennifer.
What for me, what I mean by that is because my heart is where I create from. So it's very sensitive, but I also am not afraid to share it. And when someone is, it doesn't even have to be physical, like safety. It could be someone projecting or someone angry for a reason I don't understand. That's where the safety comes in, and my heart will start pumping fast or things like that. That's what I meant by the heart.
Appreciate that. It's true. That is a center part of our creativity, right? So I also hear that attunement you have to your body and your heart and how it changes when you experience the safety or not safety. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. So I'm really just that's tuning in. People who work with me know that I'm often asking them, like, what's your body need? Right. But that is a stillness. And I really want to recommend that we go inward and ask, like we did tonight. I saw some people close their eyes and be like, where do I feel safe? Right? Let's go in. It's the only place we're going to get the answers. Not here. It's the whole system. This amazing thing we have here. This amazing body, this amazing temple. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do some more guided practices. I know that there's some people who are not, sitting upward, and that's fine. So if you're not, either way, I'm going to ask people who are sitting, as you can probably hear me tapping my feet on my desk mat floor thing, is I'm grounded here. I have no shoes on. It's my feet on the floor. I think it's really important to just slow down and be here. Notice your breath. Sometimes when I'm doing the breath, I inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Intentionally creating the kinesthetic experience with my breath and my groundedness. Bring myself into this moment. Okay. So you'll see my hands are moving up and down. Just staying with my breath through my nose, out my mouth. Whatever's at ease. That's what we're talking about here. This is not a breath work moment. It's a presence moment. That I'm here. Having some rhythm to our inhale and our exhale. As we stay in this grounded place, I'm going to guide you through, and probably most of you know about the five senses for our practice. It's always a good thing to be. Right now, where you're sitting, say to yourself or out loud, because most of you are on mute, 5 things you can see. Trees, the sky, clouds. They're here. I am present to what I can see. 4 things you can touch. Touch yourself, your body. 3 things you hear. Maybe my voice, something in your house, nature. 2 things you could smell. One thing you can either taste, and if you don't have anything that, like I haven't eaten in a long time, so I don't have that. If you don't have the one thing you could taste, one thing you're grateful for. Welcome you to keep your feet, your hands together and say, I am here now. This is a grounding practice. It's a trauma response recovery practice. It's a regulation practice. The 5 senses. It brings you into this moment. We're not out here. I would recommend using the 5 senses for all the reasons I've just shared. It's a very good grounding experience. It takes us from all of our thoughts into the present moment. The other thing I want to do is it's encouraging people. I know that you're sitting wherever you are, but I would encourage everyone if they could sit up for a moment with their shoulders back. Right? We often, I don't know about you, but I'm in front of the computer. I'm slouched sometimes. Right? Because in this moment, I am soft front and I'm strong spine. Even if you're laying down, right? Some people lay down with their pillows. I'm just going to encourage you for a moment. Just practice that. What does that feel like when we can open ourselves up? Roll them back. Exhale, right? Let your shoulders drop. The invitation when we do this also is that you don't have to carry anything. You see people kind of, right, when they're in protection mode, overwhelmed, their shoulders are carrying. I don't have to carry. Strong back. Okay. I would also like to practice butterfly hugs. Right? One hand here. Can we all do this? And one hand on the other shoulder? Right? We're gonna do some tapping back and forth. Back and forth. You could say I'm loved, I'm safe. It's a bilateral movement again. But a way again to bring you here. Back to your body, back to the center moment. It regulates us also. It's why we do these practices. These are not like, oh, this was a cool workshop. We take some of these. We're getting dysregulated often in our world. We're anxious, overwhelmed, whatever word we want to call it. I call it activated, right? Like these are things that bring us back. So that's a really good one too. We did the swaying one before, right? In the breath. Again, choose to stay here. I am present. Any of your mantras or affirmations that also help ground you. Remind your body, I'm learning to be safe. I'm learning I can be present. I'm here. If anyone has any questions about any of those practices, please let me know. You will get a guide for anyone who is enrolled tonight. You will get these things in a guide. This is a moment of self-reflection because we're going to do this, and then Hal's going to put people into groups after this. When you take a few moments, I'll put some music on. Either you want to write it or you want to think about it. How do I feel when love feels safe? And what beliefs have blocked me from secure connection? So what is keeping me from believing in it? Now, I know we have traumas. We've been talking about traumas in this class, patterns, the way we've learned to interact. We also recognize that we're still carrying some of that. So I recognize that we still all have some stories and history that is running us. So what is a block? And how does it feel when love feels safe? Take a moment. About these questions, you might want to think about, like, when I feel this secure love, what does that allow in me? How do I feel? And when I feel that safety, wow, now what is that for me? What do I get to access? I feel blocked. Part of me withdraws, protects. Give another few 30 seconds. Okay. Great. We always want to be open to what it feels like when we're experiencing the connection and when we're not. So we're going to go into our groups. And from there, stop the music. We're going to go into groups. And I'm just going to ask everyone to take, like, we're going to go into this for about 10 minutes of sharing. So if you're able to come on screen, or if you're on phone, Hal will get you into some groups. We're going to process. Share what you're safe with sharing. This is all about safety. No one's here to push you. But we want to answer that. Notice the trends. Can you relate to other people? Like, oh, wow, I understand how you feel safe with that. Or I understand what it feels like to be blocked or to believe, right? Most of my life, I believed I was unlovable. It was an old belief based on things told to me. It's not a truth, but it was a block for a long time. So what beliefs maybe still are holding you back from connection? How does it feel when you feel safe? Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. Yep, this is time, peeps, for you to talk, because I really do want to understand what you learned about yourself. Maybe you learned something about listening to somebody else, how they create safety, where they feel it, what they do when they don't feel safety. So who would like to share? Before we volunteer somebody, because I can see who's here.
I'll say something.
Sure, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm late coming to the party tonight.
How do you pronounce your name?
Devora.
Thank you, Deborah. Hi.
Hi. Claudine. I loved your showing us your new house and unpacking. That was awesome. I right at the end of our conversation, the question that was coming up for me was, how is it we are so able to give others grace and not ourselves?
Yeah.
You know, how
Kimberly's head.
can, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see Kimberly's also shaking her head. Yeah.
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 Well, that was what I wanted to say to Kimberly right before we got off. You know, how is it that it's just easier? And I think it absolutely has to do, every ounce of it, with being the firstborn, being in an abusive situation as a child, and being really trained up to think of others before I think of myself and to act accordingly. And
Yes.
so, I mean, it just comes from, I believe, for me, my upbringing. And it's a whole nother way to, it's a whole nother class school that I have to attend to actually learn how. And I think the beginning is just saying, yes, I'm just willing to, like, I am so willing to give this a try, because I know how much I do love people and care about people. And I know that because of, you know, how they respond to me, and how they, I mean, they are very, like, for instance, my ex grandson-in-law, I was with him last week, and he just could not get over how much I was really interested in his life, and I was in their relationship at a time when his mother passed away. And the whole time I was with him, I felt so heard. And that was such a gift to me. But by just being me, it was such, like, healing for him. I mean, it was
Yeah.
what do you say? It's an experience where you can feel it, you're experiencing it, you're in that moment. And I personally did not want it to end.
It's good stuff, right? You use some really key things. So thank you for sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
You used the sense you shared with us. I felt heard, right? I heard presence. I heard curiosity. I heard connection. You generated that together. It was a co-collaboration, co-creation between you and your son-in-law, your ex-son-in-law. I heard that. But I want to speak into grace for a moment. If we were to use a mind map and we're like, okay, us, like all the things that impact our barriers to love, upbringing, trauma, socialization, family messaging, right? I love something that a man named Richard Rohr, Father Richard Rohr, people know him. He's a Franciscan, no, I'm saying it wrong. And, oh gosh. Francis of Assisi, right? He has the Center for Contemplative Action. Franciscan, thank you for the word.
Yeah.
He's a Franciscan father. He has great books. He was on a podcast with Brene Brown. And they have many. They've done 4 episodes together, but one was on grace. And she was so like, oh my God, we're always steeped in grace, because in the eyes of God, source, Lord, Joshua, however we see source, we are never imperfect. It is our judgments from our traumas, our socializations, our life experiences that take away our grace and get replaced by our judge. And in that moment, we tend to be harsher on ourselves than we are on others. but we are always steeped in grace. And that is my mantra, was my word of the year last year. And for people who know what I went through, it was my survival, being grace. To constantly be, I don't have to be perfect to be loved. I am steeped in grace, perpetually steeped in grace, right? Because that is not something we give ourselves with ease. So if anything, Kimberly, endure, is may you embark in a journey of grace for yourself, not perfection. Because we have been told to abandon ourselves in the name of love. That is not grace. And after a while, that's not love. It's actually self-abandonment.
Yes.
So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think many of us can probably identify with it.
Yeah. I just want to say one last thing. My belief that I came to understand about 25 years ago was in order to be loved, I needed to be perfect. And as soon as I saw that, it was like, well, that's impossible.
Yep.
Because I'm not perfect. So, and it was such a lie, but it had been hidden until it was exposed.
Oh, I'm happy for you. And think about how that lie continues to be perpetuated. So then love is about performance. It's never about who I am. And we perpetuate that still. So I'm glad that you have that awareness, because only from there can we then realize we're always worthy of love. There's no conditions. Thank you. Who else would like to share? And I'm sorry we took a little long on that, but I think there's so many relatable things in her share. They were so important. So thank you for that. Who else? Before we volunteer you. Right. You're going to pronounce your name again?
Tony.
It's Shawnee.
Shoni. The
Shawnee.
eyes. Shawnee. Sorry.
Yeah. So something that I've been doing recently, I am a recovered drug addict with 38 years clean. And before I got clean and sober, I was not a nice person. I did a lot of bad things when I was dealing drugs. And one of the things that I've started doing here within the last few years is I have started to visualize all of those women that I created in order to survive. Because what I realized is a lot of my behavior was based on core trauma, and it was about survival. And
Yep.
so I visualize them, her, okay, and then this is where grace comes in. I look upon them with grace, and I say to them, in grace with mercy, you are forgiven. They were mistakes. They were not life sentences. You can drop those rocks now. And then I affirm that I see them, namaste, I see them because in every single one of them was the desire to do the right thing, was the desire to be a good person. And they did some good things in those desires. And so I affirm, namaste, I see you, I love you, I bless you, and I wrap you in the presence of divine. Then I take them into myself and assimilate that together. And one of the things that's happened as a part of that practice is I have begun giving myself grace. And I have begun to be more gentle with myself rather than the harsh critic. So and loving with myself. And I realized that until I can love me, I have no love to give. So that's been my recent journey with healing.
Whoa. I'm just going to do this. Some big nuggets you just gave us on that one. Everyone heard that, right? What I heard was you also can identify the parts or the parts of you that were created to survive. And we all have them, right? We have the wondrous child. We have the injured child or the wounded child. We have the rebellious adolescent. We had a whole class on that, right? But we also have, right, the shadow parts of us, the parts of us that are like, the I can get over you parts. I can connive. I have, right? I have jealousy and I can have love. Right. So when we love all of ourselves, and we've said this before, but I so thank you for bringing it here, is the parts that we deny are the parts that need the love the most. And they tend to be the ones we keep in the shadow. So I love that you bring them out, name them. Powerful when we name them, just like when we name an emotion, we name our experience, when we name our parts, then we can bring them in and integrate. Because that was the final thing I heard you say, right? Like I name them, I have an affirmation for them, I forgive them, and I integrate them back into me, into my wholeness. This is what it's about. Healing is about wholeness, owning that we were always whole. We're not broken. We're remembering. So thank you. Great share. Great share. I see we have some messages, so just give me a moment. Yeah, that's it. People are saying amen, and that was so beautiful. So thank you for that share. Great. We didn't spend a lot of time in this class talking about parts. I could do many classes on that. But when I do work with people, we do name them because our inner aspects come up when we don't recognize it. Something initiates or activates or triggers them. They're not all negative, right? We all have the inner lover, the inner prostitute, the wondrous child, the maiden. I'm moving into my older years, right? Like a maiden moving into my crone wisdom. I don't feel like I'm old enough for it, but I am. And that leadership is important. It's important for my wholeness and for those in my family that I am, their role model for. So great. Thank you. Thank you a lot. If there's anyone else who wants to share, we can move forward, but I really want to thank two of you who've come forth. Thank you.
Hi. This is Nanjean here.
Hi, Nanjean.
I think after a date or after a heavy conversation or after an outing, I try to check in with myself and ask myself what I was feeling. Did this conversation make me anxious, or was it a feel good conversation, or was the outing a feel good? And if it wasn't, or if it was, why? And just be completely honest with myself. And so knowing prior, like have writing down, oh, this is what I'm looking for in a partner, or this is what I'm looking for in a friend. When I ask myself those hard questions, I refer back to that list and okay, this is a great, this is what I was looking for, and this is the reason why I was feeling this way. And if I was feeling anxious or if I was feeling uneasy, ask myself why I was feeling those ways, and then refer back to the list and be honest and just say to myself, like, this is really not what you're looking for. Why why attempt to have a second date if this is not what you're looking for? And stop it right then and there instead of moving forward, knowing that this is not going to be healthy for me, and stop it immediately and be honest about it. And even if I have to fight within myself to say, don't take the and you can end it easily, right? But not to take the second date, and not to like purposely have this person in my life, or entertain a conversation that's going to make me feel uncomfortable, that's going to make me feel all the things that I don't want to feel. Because I think that sometimes you're like, oh, I'll just have a 15-minute conversation, but ultimately it's affecting your health, it's affecting your stress, it's affecting your daily life. And so I just try to eliminate those things. And if I don't have an answer immediately, I allow myself time and space, and then I come back to revisit that question and really reflect within myself, like if something got me if I became upset about something, really I wasn't upset about it. I was probably hurt about something. Why was I hurt? Ask those heavy, tough questions. And move forward. But I will say also too, what I have done is I joined a choir, and within this choir, is like non-denominational, but it's like singing affirmations for like 2 hours. And is just I was talking to one of my
Oh,
girlfriends, and she's like, I leave class feeling so good for like 3 days. It just does wonders for me. Like,
a
why
lot of
did
happy
it for
chemicals
me?
happening there.
Yeah, yeah. So and I'm just like, sometimes we meet in different locations every single week, and every time we meet, it's like a group of 100 or more, and it's just like we all must be feeling the same thing because we're finding each other, and we're coming together, and we're having I mean, this we fill this room with such amazing energy
Yeah.
that you can definitely note that that's the reason why we all continue to come back. So I can share some of the songs if you want, but they're really pretty much like singing affirmations to yourself. One of the songs in one of the chorus it's just like I love you. And when you say it like 20 times to yourself, and it's just
That's
like, oh, I gotta
great.
feel that, right? Or who am I today? And read and every single week, because you can change every single week. There is like a new
Yeah.
version of you. And it's like,
If
who am I today? Do I like who I am? Do I like who I'm becoming? And if I don't, let me change that immediately. So it's
sure.
also a reflection of like um asking myself, how do I feel in this moment?
Mhm.
And allowing myself to like meet new people, and spread that joy, that little bit of joy that I have, because I feel as though once we continue to multiply that, it only increases.
Exactly. It intensifies the frequency.
Right.
But notice the questions you ask. I really love your practice after dating because we have these things. And a lot of my clients are like, this is the character. This is what I want in a person. And like you said, and I always will say there's a difference between needs and wants. I always encourage my clients to create both. But you're tuning in because it's not a construct if it's in here. You're tuning in. This is what I heard you say. That if I want someone who is, I don't generous, am I feeling that? If I don't feel that they're generous and that's like very important, high value for me, you're right. Don't go on a second date. And if you feel it, so I'm reiterating what you shared because what I sense is it also deepens your sense of trust and safety in yourself because you are now like fine tuning the vessel. Like, yeah, I know the hits of not for me. Oh, I know the hits for me. I think one class I called it the hell yeses and the hell nos. That's a very important part of creating safety. And in our culture, we often kind of go, all right, as if that's a yes. That's not a yes. A yes is a yes. I'm a yes. I'm a no. Anything in between is a no. Right? You're tuning. You're really tuning in. And I'm hearing you're holding yourself accountable. So you're growing. You're really growing that intuition, that gut, that experience. So thank you for sharing that. And if you'd like, please put the songs, if you can, into our chat so we can. I am always up to some affirmation songs.
Yeah,
So thank you.
sure. I'll
Thank you.
definitely do that for you.
Yeah.
No problem.
I I was going to say something came up when you were just going through that, Claudine, about yes and no. How how much work I had to do for myself to really say yes because I didn't believe that I could say no. And learning to be able to say no and mean it
Yes.
so that when I said yes, I really meant it. That was a long lesson for myself of being willing to set a boundary and really put that
Mm,
no out there. Because I certainly know for myself and many people I've known, they say yes just out of habit without really understanding that they really meant no, but they were afraid to say no,
yes.
afraid of
Yeah.
being discarded or not liked or whatever because they're saying no.
Mhm.
So just
Thank you for
something.
the share. You're right. Because when we say that yes and we don't mean it, it's a moment of self abandonment. And right, we think it's the right thing. I know I have shared before, I'm a people pleaser in recovery. So I'm a helper. That's our job. I'm in service. So right, no, if there's a part of me that's hesitating, say no. And that's a true act of love of me and the other person too. Certainly of me. So thank you for sharing that, Hal. Glad you do your yeses and your nos. You're allowed to say no. So thank you for sharing, everyone. I want to move us into the barriers, because that was the second part of the journaling. Like, what are the beliefs? What are the barriers? And we've shared this, right? I think we can all agree we know our traumas. Talked about in our classes, small t, big T. Doesn't matter the intensity of a T. If something's happened to you, it has changed us chemically, psychologically, emotionally, right? Doesn't mean bad and wrong. It just has. There's been a chemical experience, right? So we have emotional neglect, right? We have the lack of regulation or co-regulation, things that have happened in our lives, right? And we're going to speak into it. And if anyone wants to share what they've recognized, I think most of us may know the holistic psychologist, Dr. Nicole LaPera. I follow her on Instagram. I've read her books, To Our Future Self. It's the classic book she wrote is How to Do the Work. I think what I like about Nicole's work is it's very holistic. And that's my approach too, is that we're not just here in the mental construct. We're in the body. We're in the patterns. We're in our parts, right? She's also about the health in the gut. Our body's talking to us all the time. So, right, like, yes. What are the barriers to receiving love? One of the things that she has said is if we're not emotionally attuned to safety, we'll feel unsafe. Say it again. If we're not emotionally attuned, safety will feel unsafe. Because we don't know it. It's the same in dating. One of our patterns is we pick familiar. We think it's safe, but it's familiar. We do kind of what Jean was talking about, and we really check in. We can also be in touch with our own patterns, be like, no. Right? Comfort and familiarity. If we're not attuned, safety can feel unsafe. You feel threatening because our bodies just don't know that. That is Dr. Nicole LaPera. The book is How to Do the Work. It's darn classic. If you follow her on Instagram under the holistic psychologist, you pretty much get the content of her book, but the book is a very powerful, to use. I often use it in therapy, matching it with my client's journey, because it's a really good step. One of the things is, like, I would also say, if we think about what you shared, some of us actually fear vulnerability. It's a barrier to love. We fear failure, rejection. We've talked about this in some of our classes, right? To open up. Sometimes we're a barrier to love is we don't feel worthy. We feel guilty. Like, who am I? I don't deserve this unless I earn it. I think someone shared earlier, right? Like, there's that message, or I'm so hyper independent. I really don't need anybody. Yeah, making me need somebody makes me needy and weak. I heard that many times. Think about what you wrote earlier. A lot of friends and clients who are like, I want to love, but I know something's going to happen. The shoe's going to drop. I'm going to learn something. They live in the what if and not in the present. It can't be in the what ifness and be present to love. It becomes a barrier. We avoid it because it feels like an obligation. I have to earn it. I have to do something for love. And that becomes a barrier. I don't want to do that. Right? I'm going to owe you. We feel smothered. Your needs are too much. It's too scary to love. And we've had reasons. We have a lot of evidence. I like what Brene Brown says, like, right, if we want to look for evidence that we don't belong, we'll always find it. We want to look for evidence of love being unsafe, we'll always find it. Right? And we get to keep looking. Yeah.
What was
Yes.
the name of that lady that you had mentioned?
It's in the chat. I thank you, Kimberly. Put Dr. Nicole LaPera. It's in the chat right now.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Right. So I just want to say some beliefs that I've written down when I was writing this course is like, right, people only love me when I'm useful to them. Right. It's safer to be alone. If I express my need, I'm going to be labeled as too much. If I express my emotions, I'm too emotional. I'm so dramatic. Right? These are things that hold us back. Like if I open up, they're going to leave me. A lot of clients right now that are, 40s and 50s, and they're entertaining another marriage or love again, and their fear of being cheated on, abandoned. These are barriers to love. So that is what we're really working on. And when we can really check in and what is secure love, can we start to build, as we said in other classes, trust? Nadine just talked about building trust with herself. Micro commitments, micro promises, micro check-ins. If I say I'm going to go work out, I do it. If I say I'm going to drink water today, I do that because I'm earning trust. If I'm going to go on a date and say, I'm only going to go on a date again if I have 5 hell yeses on this list, but we honor it. That's how we build trust. That's how we get over the barriers that we've created to not receiving love. So, my question to everyone is, when does love feel the riskiest for you? Think about that. When is love the riskiest for you? Relationships and love really can't be controlled, but we do. We control it. I want you to talk to me this way. I want you to do this for me. I want. Doesn't mean we don't have the needs and the rights to them. We also choose to love somebody for who they are. Now, how many of us go into relationships like, I'm going to change them. They got potential. I see the good in them before they see it in themselves. And you're not dating or loving based on what's really here, or doing it on an old story, a pattern, an illusion. You can't change anybody. That's why I introduced myself the way I did. I'm not here to fix anybody. You can't fix anybody. Think about it. When is it most risky for you? We're going here to the barriers because, again, this class being about secure love is how do we have a breakthrough around some of our fears, right? What was role model to us about how we were loved, which Jenny had spoken about before. If I trusted love, will you act differently? We always want to see those conditions. Can I make it certain? Can I make it certain? Terry, please come off mute and share.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question about the statements you just made, how I certainly identify with some of the partners I've been with, like seeing the good in them, potential, all these things. This happened recently with an ex-boyfriend, but he's now reapproached and he's like doing work and working on himself. So is it just a matter of people being at different points of their journey? I don't know if there's ever really a true full circle healing, or at least have not observed that yet in people I've encountered. I don't know if you wanted to comment on that.
So I've shared before, and I'll say it again. Healing is not linear. It is circular. So meaning, if this hurts me, ouch, when you hit my arm, it hurts me. I'm going to face that pain when I go around again, and you hit it again. And I am healing it, and then, oh, you hit it again. What happens in healing is the intensity and the duration and the impact may lessen. But that original injury is always going to be there. But it doesn't mean it's going to rule your life. It's not going to be as reactive. So when we say someone's in therapy, right, and like, oh, should I give them another chance? I'm very much about the behavior over the long run. Because going to therapy, I'm a therapist for 33 years. It doesn't mean anything. You can go into an office and come back out again and go, I'm going to therapy. Okay. What am I doing to integrate, practice it, and embody? What am I learning? What am I discovering? Now, what do I want to do? And this is a journey. This is not a few weeks of therapy. So, right, or coaching, there's a lot of things, breath work. We could do sound healing. There's many avenues to reveal and heal through. But when we're in a dating world, potential isn't really the person. It's who we want them to be. So I would say, if you're going to consider it, is what were the changes that he wants to make? What were the changes that you thought needed to happen? If they're not together, then it's right. It's not an aligned relationship. It's not compatible. Does it mean he's not a good person? It means you're a good person. Did that answer your question, Sarah?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I have to be honest. I have fallen in love with potential myself. I don't think that. I doubt, Terry, you thought that. None of us think that. But we see what we want to see, and we also create what we want to see. Right? So we will notice, we may excuse or downplay. It's not that big of a deal. Like, notice the language. I hear my clients, I hear my family members say it. Well, I think I can live with that. It's like, oh, really? So just notice what Nadine was saying. Am I coming back and it's like a hit? Yeah. Where's even when you're with this person that you were dating before, have some things that you're looking for. See if they show up. Okay. And I like the needs and wants because I think they're very different. Right? People want someone who's funny. They may want someone who's financially independent. They may want somebody who likes nature. But I'm going to tell you, I know I need attunement, mutuality, accountability, the ability to repair, self-reflection, right? Those things I know I need in a relationship. I would like a lot of these other things, by the way, but I'm not a yes until I can sense some of these other things. I hope that helps. So I want to practice some secure scripts. Yeah, these are two I wrote. I wrote a few more that are on my paper, and because I think we're not sure of what it sounds like, right? And some of this is also, how do I stay connected in conflict, which I call repair, rupture, I said earlier, or I'm working towards feeling safe, right? So if I'm in conflict and I know I need support, but there's a lot of energy in the room, I like that second one. Like, can we slow it down together? Can we slow it down together? So we're not like, well, you did this. I need you to be more that. Wow. Can we slow it down together? Notice my voice changes. If you were in front of me, I would be in direct eye contact. And we breathe together. I want to stay connected even when I'm scared. That is how we practice secure relationships. Versus, you're crazy, I'm out of here, I'm done, I'm done. Wait, have you not heard some of that in relationships? It's always your fault. Like, even people who talk calmer, it's your fault. I'm sick of that. It's always you, drama queen. Here we go again. Right? That's, we're in conflict. We're in rupture. These are where we go to practice. How do we keep connection while we go to regulate? And these things happen in relationship. It will be in your homework. I mean, in your companion guide. I do a series on Instagram, Talk to Me as Someone You Love. Because these are what we say so we don't break connection with ourselves or the other person. We recognize we are working towards a secure relationship. It's okay to say, right, can we slow it down? I need a break. I'm going to read a few to you for a moment. I'm practicing trust. Can we do this together? I'm feeling overwhelmed, but I don't want to be disconnected from you. I don't want to win this. I just want to understand you. Right? You've all probably heard this line. It's either being right or being in a relationship. And I would tell you, most people come to therapy and coaching, and they want to be right in their relationship. Like you want to feel in control, want someone to say they're wrong. That will erode a relationship, will cause it to rupture more. So notice the language. I don't want to win. I want to understand you. I need reassurance. It's not that I doubt you, but I am learning to trust myself. It's okay. The anxiously attached person needs reassurance, right? I got you is one of the best love languages for someone who's got an anxious attachment. When we're in disconnection or rupture, it's okay to ask for reassurance, recognizing you're also building it here. Yes, I'm asking for you, but I'm building it here too. Can we pause for a moment? I want to come back together. I know we're having a difficult moment. Can we slow down? Can I touch you? Can I hug you? Often these just have us just come down a moment. So we're looking to do in the moment. I often will say somebody throw in the white flag. Like we're dysregulated. I want to stay in connection with you, but we're dysregulated. Can we regulate together or do we need to do that separately? We'll talk about co-regulation in a little while. We'll practice it actually. So I want you to think about some of these things, right? I care about you and I want us to work this through together. I am here and willing to talk when you're ready, right? Because sometimes remember, we talked about pursuer and withdrawer. The pursuer wants to talk now. Let's go. I want to process this. I want to get this over with. I want this conflict behind us. And sometimes the withdrawer or people who process differently, they need the space. They need time to process. They need time to be in their own thoughts. So I'm going to just encourage that. Okay. I do notice that we have a hand up. So please, Shiny, if you'd like to come off.
I love everything you're saying. One of the things that dramatically changed my relationship with my wife is that we sat down and we agreed that we are, from this point forward, going to be allies, not adversaries. And so when there's a conflict, we meet as allies in order to find a common ground and healthy solution. Because when we were meeting as adversaries, it was always us fighting each other to prove who was right. And we just took that out of the relationship, and it completely changed our relationship.
Thank you. Yep. Right. There's no I in team. We're on the same side. Oh my God, we're on the same team. But right when in conflict, what I so appreciate you and your wife did is I've got to win, you've got to lose. And I always will say, I never want my partner to lose. When my partner loses, I'm losing. There's no winning in a relationship unless we're both winning. Because when one loses, we both lose. No one is right or better or they're not words. So I really appreciate that you really come from the place of allyship, being on the same team, friends, a real important agreement to keep. And often, and let me just ask you, Shani, does somebody have to call it, right? Because when we're in the emotionality, sometimes it's not like, oh, right? So I say to some of my couples I work with and individuals that are dating is come up with code words. Mm-hmm. Bicycle. What the hell is bicycle got to do with this? It's a safe word in the way of interrupting so we can get to the neutrality of we're allies. Or maybe one of you just goes, allies. Oh, wait.
She's a conservative Republican and I'm a liberal Democrat.
That's a heck of a household.
there can be some interesting conversations. And we recently just had a political conversation, and both of our both of our blood pressure started to rise, and we both just went, whoa, I'm feeling adversarial. Let's take a break until we could get past that energy and come back together and be allies again. So yes,
Right.
yeah, you do have to stop the adversarial.
Yeah. And sometimes someone is more, has more agency over their emotionality, right? And can pull back in the couplehood and do that. It's not like someone's better. Hear me again. It's in that moment because it's a shared responsibility in relationships. Any relationship, it's not just romantic relationships. Well, I've had my share of dysregulation with my family members too. Okay. So I really appreciate that. There's a question here. What would you do if you try to do this during conflict, but the other person has shut down? Should you just take the space at that point? If the person who shut down, is shut down in there even verbally, right? Because I've shared, freeze is my trauma response, and I used to be more avoided than I am now because I'm really not as much. Like that's a coping mechanism. It's a trauma response. So if someone's in shutdown, and at that point, right, often we don't verbalize. There's times I can know in my past, I couldn't even get the words from the brain to the mouth. It didn't matter. It wasn't a punishment. It was a trauma response. Remember my throat? I didn't speak. So if that's happening, then let's state it, right? We're both dysregulated. I sense you're shut down. How about we take space? I'm going to come back in a half hour. Come back in a half hour. If you look at them and they're still blank, still shut down, then, right, in a sense, are you ready to speak? Do you want to process? If they can articulate, wonderful. If they can't, then, I'll come back in an hour, 2 hours. Do you want to tell me? Right. So it can happen in conflict because if one person is shut down during conflict, there's nothing happening anymore. It's two dysregulated people. They're already in their dysregulation. And if you're sitting there like, but why? Like, talk to me. You're also getting dysregulated. It's not going to move forward. It's not a co-collaboration at that time. Call it for what it is. We're in a trauma response pattern. We're in a conflict, however you want to call it, but I would probably go more for dysregulation or impasse and take space. I hope that answers what you're asking. Even if they can't say it, you will be able to see it in their faces. All right. Jonathan, I don't know who you're talking about in particular, but I would say there is some body language, right? First of all, if they're shut down, they're not probably talking at the same rate and volume you're used to. They're not contributing, right? I often use the example of shutdown. People actually their body kind of caves in, their eye contact changes. They're probably also not the same age they were when you start talking to them. It's probably a much younger survival strategy they're in. So you will see it. The underproductivity is an indication that they're shut down. Also, when you know your beloved or a friend or family member, you start to see some differences in them. Right? When I'm in that space and I'm intentionally choosing to pull back, not as a punishment, I know I cast my eyes down and I'm really trying to go within to see if I can join the conversation or if I need some processing time. But usually people know it. I'm not asking anyone to be a mind reader and I'm asking you to be a body reader. You can also say, can I check in with you? Are you okay? I sense that you may be shut down, that you may be overwhelmed. Or, is there something going on? Like you can be curious too with them. Yes, even in the middle of a conflict. So at that point, your partner's not really present. Okay. Thank you for the question. And Jonathan, I hope I answered your question. So we're going to practice these. We're not going to do it here. I'm going to really encourage you. You're going to get a list of these scripts. I would encourage you to practice them. Again, this is not just our love life. Yes, we need it there, but I know I've had ruptures with my mother. I know I haven't with my brother. I know I've had it with friends, not right. We find our way to repair, but how do we stay in connection while we're in that process? So I encourage you to use the guide when you get it, to really practice and see what one feels, for you. I have my 2 or 3 I go to. They feel more natural to me. They're more my tone and voice. But I would encourage you. And someone said they have the book, Love Me, Talk to Me Like Someone You Love. It's a great book. It's like 100 and something statements of what you can say when you're in conflict. That's why I do the series on the book in my Instagrams. It is about acknowledging what's here and the importance of our connection still. What is better, right? As Esther Perel will say, we go from a series of connection, disconnection to reconnection. We shorten the disconnection period when we use one of these secure scripts. So some co-regulation. I've mentioned this in many of my classes before. I know, sadly, we're not in a classroom together because I'd really love it if we all were. But I would like to just take us through to a few things, right? I think we've shared this, but clearly Hal and I know each other through breathwork school. One of the best ways is through breath. When we are in close proximity, the amazing thing about this human body is when we connect, our breaths actually start to mirror each other. They rise and fall, right? So if I'm dysregulated and you're like, babe, are you okay? Right? Yeah, hugging is wonderful. It's great, right? Talk about, I start my couples and people out at 17. 33 is really the prime. 16 seconds of kissing. Think about that. Think about what is getting, okay, Karen, how did you write on my thing? That's really interesting. How regulated our body will be because the dopamine, endorphins that get released in like a 33-second hug or a 16-second kiss. It's same with breathing together. In that moment, when we finally connect and regulate, we breathe together. Soft eye gazing. So regulated together. Right? Now, if in conflict, you may not want to get too close, then I would go for something else. Mirroring postures. We often do that. It gives a message that I see you. I'm here with you. I sit the way you're sitting. I'll be with you in this. Right? I think sometimes forms of touch, yes, the hug, co-regulating could also be a gentle strokes. Right? Our backs together. Again, we're going to start to breathe together. All these are just wonderful, wonderful things. Sounds. We know, we've talked about this before for individual regulating. We know that humming, chanting, singing are all great regulators because they're the closest to the vagal nerve, which is right at the bottom of our brainstem. And when we get dysregulated, it tightens. These practices loosen this. That's what we're going for. So co-regulation is doing it together, and you feel it in your body when we start to co-regulate. So I just want to, notice that. So touch, and the humming, mantras, affirmations. We're okay. We're going to be okay. Low tone, soft tone. There may be an agreement you both like. There may be some grounding words that we know. I know for my partner, it's I got you. Very grounding and loving. Right? I need different reassurance. So for me, it's I see you and I hear you. Very important for me to receive. My body can relax. So think about what it is for you. I mean, a lot of people also do some shared swinging together. It's great. Dancing, it's like hugging, right? Where our bodies are moving together. So it can also be fun, by the way. But I do tell people walking is one of the best ways. So if you'll ever notice with a friend of yours, like, right, if you're agitated and you go for a walk, after a while, your steps start going the same way. Our bodies mirror each other. And our defense is lower because now we're attuned. Our bodies are attuned. So this is a great time to share. It's a great time to have a conversation. So think about that for you. People who know me, and often hands over my heart. The other is hand over your heart. So we call that a heart salutation. If I take my hand and I put it on yours, you put your hand and you put it on mine, then I take my hand and I put it over yours. In that moment, we're connected, feeling each other's energy, heartbeats. Very powerful. If there's anybody who has another co-regulating activity, please either come on, off mute, put it in the chat. It's important. Again, this is all going to be in your companion guide. This is really important work. Really important work. So I think that's important to also be in with whatever that is for you, co-regulating practice. I'm aware of our time, and I want to take us through. If anyone has anything they want to add, yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't know how we have the yellow lines on the screen. It's a mystery to me.
I love.
I put that. That's me. I love safety's mind.
Okay.
It's great. I do use, we talked about the weighted blanket and things like that, but I also think when we acknowledge in the moment that we need to connect, it helps in that moment. That's a connect. Even the invitation, can I have a hug? You've gone, like, that's vulnerable. And then to ask for something. Right? In that moment, you are starting co-regulation, even approaching. Okay. So we're going to do a little visual imagery. You're like, okay, right. I want to invite everyone to close their eyes. You don't need to. I love seeing your pretty faces. But I don't need to see them right this moment. We're gonna just kind of go back and maybe think about a moment you were in conflict. Right. And instead of reacting when you're there, think most recent conflict. Think about maybe activating a different strategy for a moment. Like maybe you start to breathe. Maybe you give yourself a butterfly hug. Maybe you start to speak and share something that you know is vulnerable. Like Shane shared with us, you remember we're allies. Just think about that. What would you gain if you were staying rooted in secure self-love? Take a moment to shift inward. Feel safe, close your eyes, and always lower your gaze. Soften your body. Begin to take a slow, deep breath in. And hold it. Let's gently exhale. I'm going to invite us to do this about 2 more times together. Inhale. Hold it. And let's exhale for 6. 1. Inhale for 4. Hold it for 4. Let's exhale for 6. yourself settle in a little more with each breath. Now, I'm going to invite you to imagine a familiar moment of tension, maybe recent. It could have been a disagreement with a loved one, a trigger with a partner or a child, a moment you wanted to lash out, maybe a moment you wanted to run, a moment you want to shut down. Let's recall that. This time we're going to do something different. Thinking about that moment of tension, I want you to pause right where you're thinking about it right now. Just pause. Again, let's take a breath. Inhale for 4. Hold it. Exhale for 6. Feel your feet beneath you. If you want, you can put your hand on your heart and your belly. Remind yourself, even in this moment of tension, this is hard, and I'm safe, and I can stay present. Even in a moment of conflict, I can be present, I can be safe. Instead of reacting, I'm going to invite you in this moment to think about that situation by responding. I'm going to read it to you. Maybe you say something like, I feel hurt by what you said. And I want to stay connected to you to understand. Confused by what's happening between us. Can we take it some slower? Just breathe that in. I need a moment to ground myself, but I'm not going away. Notice if anything's shifting in that vision of tension. Notice your body may feel different, how you're holding yourself, your heart, grip in your body. Maybe everything's changing. You said those things. You picture the face of the person, right? See how your calmness actually softens the space between you and this other person. Notice how your nervous system may not be preparing for battle or for connection. It's creating room for repair. This moment. You're practicing being the secure person. You're not abandoning yourself. You're not chasing, you're not shutting down. You're breathing. You're staying you. You're choosing yourself. You're choosing connection over fear. Let's take a breath into this secure you, this person feeling the secured self. Feel the steadiness of this part of you, the softness, the power. And you anchor this image. This is possible for you. This version of you is real and is alive in you. You could even name it. I call mine peace treaty. I know I have peace treaty. On the Enneagram, I'm the peacemaker. A 9. Don't need to win, I want to be in connection. If it helps anchoring it, touch a part of your body where this part lives, wherever that part lives in you. So anchor it. You have the words. You have the ability to be secure. When you're ready, you can gently return to this space, begin to move your fingers and toes. What I want you to do is check in with yourself before you open your eyes. Can you sense that part of you? Can you see it? Do you look different? The invitation is you can come back here as many times as you like. Thank you. Thank you. Right. You may need to go back, nurture that part of you. It's just like we do our inner child. There is a secure part of you. This is a part. We have many parts. I have a retreat coming up soon that's called Loving All My Parts. All these parts. The secure part gets to be loved just as much as the part that's fearful. Creating secure love affirmations. I love what was being shared with Nadine before, right? I love me. When I tell people to get in front of the mirror with Louise Hay, that's her body of work. Louise is not with us anymore, but the Hay House has got authors. This is a major part of her work was speaking into the mirror each day. I've shared this in other classes, right? But you said something, Nadine, before that's very important. It's not saying the words, it's actually feeling them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love you is a mental construct. It's beautiful offering. I love you. But to feel I love you, to feel I love me. I was in my 50s before I got there. And I'll never go back. But I can love me.
If I can, right before we end, I would like to play one of the songs I think everyone would enjoy it. It's called Celebrate You.
Okay. Thank you. I love the
Course.
title. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm learning to love from a grounded place. Again, before, right? I'm safe to stay present. We don't ever want to lie, but we want to reassure. People who know I'm a believer, I am is a very powerful declaration. I pay attention when I use those two words. Because after that, I am setting out to the universe a truth to me and a truth to the world. Right? So don't lie here. Because if it's, I don't love myself, then say, I'm learning to love myself, just like about safety. For years, it was, I'm learning how to love me. I desire to love myself. So let's just say that. I'm going to share a few other ones. I'm safe to be fully seen. I'm worthy of love. I'm allowed to take up space. Oof. Wow. So a secure love affirmation for sure, particularly for females. I can be both vulnerable and protected. I'm learning to trust that love doesn't have to hurt. I don't have to earn trust in love. I naturally am. We are all the time. So again, I will have these affirmations in your guide. I bring them up because I'm a big believer in mirror work or repetition when we want to anchor a new truth. Even if it's grace, we get to practice it. So let's practice it that way. Right? I'm just going to really quickly, this is, some of the ideas. I'm a big believer in integration. People go to experiences and therapy and coaching sessions and group sessions and webinars. It's like, where are we going with it all? We learn and we amass, we read, we listen to podcasts. It's a lot of information. We get to integrate it, right? We got to bring it into the body. One of the ways I'm going to continue to say this is part of your homework. It's leading, I should say, to your homework. She's really choosing presence over performance. I encourage you to do a daily body safety ritual from this class, because that's integrating, right? Let connections be slow, right? You can actually choose your pace. We don't have to move, right? It's okay to create emotional safety. Right? It's okay to take action. Let's move that at a rate that we can stay connected to ourselves, right? You can listen to podcasts and podcasts and podcasts, but if it overwhelms us, we're not integrating. So, right, let's slow down. Do I need to listen to another podcast, or do I need to think about what I learned, or do I have one takeaway? I want to say that. Right. So the practices are, right, safety practice, a co-regulation tool a day. If you can, if you live with someone, right, think about it. Even if you have a pet, friends, family, this can also be done on the phone. So, right, you think about that. Maybe a nightly reflection. Did I choose safety or survival today? What had me be in survival? What do I need to bring safety back? I want to encourage everyone. You'll see it in your follow-up email about using the Facebook group Conscious Love Collective to put an affirmation there if you'd like. I will tell people I do have something coming. I have a coaching program coming. As a result of these 5 sessions over these 5 months, people have been like, "I want you, Claude," and I take that as a compliment. And I really saw the need to continue to do my work on a broader scale. It's the work I do individually. We're going to do in a group coaching, and really have a model I call the best model, where we really are taking people from lonely to beloved, repressed to expressed, anxious to secure, and triggered to trusting. It's about, nervous system regulation, loving all our parts, inner child work, shadow work. Really, we get to embrace ourselves in those parts of ourselves. So I'm excited in our next class to talk about it. So as we close out tonight, and you could start to cue your music up, Nadine, is what truth do you have about secure love that you're going to take with you tonight? Right? Because it all starts with showing up. And I want to thank you all for showing up here. You gave me 2 hours of your evening. I'm very grateful for that. You could have been anywhere and you chose to be here, and you chose yourself also. So I am very grateful. Our next class and our final class, I promised everyone, is going to be about desire, or I like to call it erotica. So in our last class is another important part of love, just as we've gone over heartbreak and right, insecure love and our inner child and our traumas, our erotic energy and our boundaries to have our needs and have our wants met in safety is a real important part and healthy foundation of relationships. So I hope to see you all back here in our next class. And as always, I do ask everyone to come off mute, but I'm Nadine. How do I get you to play? I have to share.
I just came off of mute, so I can play the music. Also, if anyone is in the New York surrounding area, we're going to be having a free concert on June 19th. I put it in the chat at 7 p.m. And it's like a revival. It's going to be great. We just performed in Times Square about 3 weeks ago, and it was amazing. So if you want to come, it's at Domino Sugar Park. And I'll play some of the song for you, and I think you're gonna fall in love. But I hope you all celebrate you. And this is what the song is called, Celebrate You.
Yeah.
Like you wanna cry.
Can you hear it?
Seems no one has the right words to say. Lost the courage to try. Things what wish all your problems would melt away.
It's not as clear as I'd like it to be.
No?
It's coming over your speaker.
You.
Yeah. So as that's being played, I want to say, can everyone come off speaker and say one word that reflects how you're feeling right now after being here for 2 hours? Everybody off mute. And I'm going to say grateful.
I'll say calm.
Claudine, you stole my word. Grateful.
Have more grateful.
Empowered.
Empowered. I love that word.
Determined.
Good one, Terry.
Calm.
Come on. Calm. All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Appreciative.
Yeah. Hey, Jen, good to see you.
You
Love.
too.
Love. That's a good one.
Heard.
Word.
Beloved.
Be loved. And you are. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, everyone. May you take
Revelatory.
that. Say that, Jane, again.
I'd say revelatory.
Oh, revelatory. I've never heard that word. Thank you. Love it. May you bask in that energy for a few moments after we end this Zoom call this evening. Right? And I encourage you to come back for our final class and be on the lookout for an email with the link and the companion guide for your homework. And I look forward to seeing you here and inside the Facebook group. Much love to you all this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jen, for being here tonight. Yeah. Oh.